Hey, what's going on guys? Faraz Ahmed here, and today we're going to take a look at my painted build of the Megaman Zero from Kotobukiya. So, I hope you guys enjoy. And this video is sponsored by New Type. Great deals, great prices, so go check them out. So we start the video off with some disassembly, basically just taking everything apart, and we're going to be washing it after I get done with a couple of procedures. So the first main thing I'm going to be doing is doing some seam line removal. I'm going to use Mr. Hobby's Mr. Cement, and I'm just going to gently glide it across all the areas that's going to be exposed with the seams. This, you don't need to go as crazy as I did with covering all the sides. It's just going to cause a little bit extra work for you. I just did it because this is actually my first time doing seam line removal, so I just want to really be cautious. And now you notice I'm using a 400 grit. I would honestly recommend you to go to the lowest grit possible, go to like 250 or even in the hundreds. This took me a little bit longer and I really wasn't thinking about going, with a better grit. So just learn from my mistake. And at the end, we're going to get a good product. You still see the line a little bit, but at the end of the video, you're going to see that there's no line on this kit once it's painted. But I do recommend try and go as far as you can to make sure that line is not even visible. And here I just removed some of the excess plastic that was just right there, and you're going to look on the other side and it's completely clean. Now for the hair, I really can't do much because I don't have any putty, and I was going to fill that in with some putty. You can do some other things like melt the plastic like from the runners and use that as kind of like a filler, but I decided just to kind of leave it as is. However, I did seal all the seams that's on that side, so you're not going to see any of that in the finished product. This one actually came out a lot better than the previous work. Now all my priming was done outside because I didn't really want to clog up and dirty up my filter. So yeah, this is the finished result, and this is going to be after they're washed and cleaned. So I feel like whenever you wash your kits, the primer is just going to adhere better to the plastic because all those oils and chemicals is just pretty much washed away. And I use basic, soap detergent, nothing really too special. And I also use Mr. Base White, and that's going to be for the yellows to make sure they're super bright. So I use Mr. Colors Pink, so that way I can try and get a good undertone flesh color. It didn't really work out to the best that I was thinking, but maybe I should have shaded that a little bit darker so that way it could have shown through better. And here I'm going to be using intermediate blue for my shading. The one thing that you're going to notice is that it's a little bit spotty because the pressure from the actual compressor is not going to be that great. So I am going to be looking at trying to get a new air compressor sometime in the near future. But I do love blue under white as a shade. I just think it looks really good. And next is some orange shading for the hair as well as the other yellow parts. And next, I did not have a traditional brown, so I used wood brown as my shading for red because I think brown and red just matches really well. And next I'm going to use my first coat for the actual parts. This is going to be the red matter, one of my favorite and just go-to red colors. I think it looks really good, it's pretty vibrant, and especially if you do it on white. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough white primer, so this is going to be gray primer. It's not going to show up as bright, but I'm going to do a couple of coats, and in the final product, it's going to look really good. And next I'm going to be using blue for all the blue parts. The shading I did on this was actually black, and it came out a lot darker than what I was expecting for the shading, but I think with that, it looks pretty good. So I'm not really too butthurt about it. It kind of is what it is. And I'm going to be using flat white from Gaia Color, and I'm super convinced that Gaia is just one of the best brands when it comes to lacquer paints. I'm honestly just floored whenever I use them because I have almost no issues whatsoever with thinning them, and they go on very smoothly. They don't really have any problems. The white so far in this kit has been the best part amongst everything else that was between Tamiya and Mr. Hobby. Now this is going to be my second time using the Frame Arms Girl Base Fresh, and yes, that's right, Base Fresh, that's how they say it. So it's pretty good. It's honestly one of my favorite flesh tones. I used this for a couple, actually one other kit was the Style It, and I think that flesh tone came out pretty well. And this one's going to be coming out really good as well. And I must apologize for the hands. I was wearing gloves, my gloves got just really sweaty and I took them off. It kind of is what it is. And now we're getting to the yellow. I love this yellow. It's a semi-gloss one, but it works really well. So I did that to the chest pieces. I also did it to this really, really bad shaded hair. Most of those spots are not going to be showing up in the final product. Some of the orange is going to be showing up in the crevices of the hair, like the little different strands. It's just unfortunately, the airbrush, not the airbrush, but the compressor is just not that great right now. Now something I did forget to film is actually going to be the masking, because I masked up the weapon and I really wish I would have just filmed that, but it was fairly boring, just me wrapping up part in masking tape. But I think maybe there's an audience out there that enjoys seeing how the masking process works. It's pretty just stressful in my opinion. I hate it so much, but it is a necessity when it comes to painting certain kits.
What we do here is go back.
and I'm going to be applying the water slides. I do have a water slide tutorial, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and check out the description down below. But this is just eyebrows. It was nothing really too complex. And we're going to use Mr. Mark Setter, just that way we can seal all that in, and we're still going to be doing 2 more coats, a clear coat and then a top coat on top of it, so those are not going to be going anywhere. And now I'm going to be applying the clear coat. This is going to be for panel lining as well as for weathering. Just that way, if I do make a mistake, it's not really going to damage the painted layers of paint. It's going to leave that undisturbed, and I can easily fix that. Some hand painting and some detail painting with the GX metallic. This is going to be for the Z in the hand. And now I'm going to be using some panel line accent dark brown. I love dark brown when it comes to your reds or maybe even some of your yellows, kind of depending on the kit, but I think it looks way better than just going straight black. And we're here on the final assembly. So thanks for watching, guys. I did not put it in any other crazy poses. I just left it as the one because when I was putting it in different poses, the paint started scratching up. So it was really unfortunate. However, I did take some pictures and those will be on Instagram. But thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.